And we'll excuse Councilman White. I wonder if he knew we were having a council meeting tonight.
Yeah, he's out of town,
Okay.
but he probably planned it that way to be out of town.
I'll bet he did. So we'll excuse him. We appreciate all the other council being here tonight. We appreciate, we have a new council member with us tonight. Audrey, with a D. Not to be mistaken. But Audrey Goodrich, and we're grateful to have her. And we'll swear her along with other council members in a little later tonight. To get started, would you mind starting us off with a prayer?
Me?
Yeah.
Sure.
And then we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance for that.
Our Father in heaven, we're grateful unto thee for this day. We're grateful, Father, for the blessings we receive from thee each day. We're grateful for our great nation and the freedoms that we enjoy, and ask thee to bless us that we can do all within our power to keep those freedoms alive. We're grateful, Father, for our community and the blessings that it brings into our lives as well. And these things we pray for and ask thee for thy guidance, and do so humbly in the name of our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Okay. First items, we have the minutes from the December 19th meeting that need to be approved. Are there any amendments or corrections?
There were 2 typos. I've already corrected those with Sunshine. I move we approve with the 2 typo corrections.
Okay, any other discussion? We have a motion.
I'll second.
Second by Councilman Allen. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion is unanimous. Okay, we have our public comment period. For any of those in the audience, Clint, would your wife like to speak? We'll give you 3 minutes.
I'm good.
Come on, Katie.
I don't know. Are you scared? What I might do?
But we do have our public comment period. Anybody in the audience can take up to 3 minutes to address the council. Are there any here tonight that would like to take that opportunity? Seeing none, we'll move on to the next item of business. Actually, we don't have any committee appointments. We do have some recognitions. And so how would you like to do this first? Should we turn the time over to Chief? Or?
Remember the swearing in with police?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We better do that first. Okay. What do you want to do? The police first or the council first? Let's do the council first so it's official, and then we'll do the police first or next. I'm sick and under a lot of non-prescription drugs. So.
So maybe if I could have
Members.
members.
That's not you.
That's not good.
Oh, you got reelected.
He's excited to be with. He had so much fun. You wanted to do it again.
You're done.
Yeah, I guess it's like this. Then it's going to be official. Okay, if you will please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, say your name, have been elected
I've been elected
to the office of Roosevelt City Council.
to the office of Roosevelt City Council.
I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
obey, and defend
obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and that I will discharge
and that I will discharge
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Awesome. And congratulations to you three for, I don't know if it's congratulations or condolences, but we're happy that you're here and be working with you. Chief, we'll turn the time over to you.
Hey, appreciate it. Well, Officer Destin Adams and his significant other come up. Rhonda? Maybe Bob for the square in. Thanks, Rhonda.
Okay, if you'll raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Dustin Adams,
I, Dustin Adams,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
and the laws
and the laws
of the state of Utah,
of the state of Utah,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and defend them
and defend them
against enemies,
against enemies,
foreign and domestic.
foreign and domestic.
On my honor,
On my honor,
I will never betray my integrity,
I will never betray my integrity,
my character,
my character,
or the public's trust.
or the public's trust.
I will always have the courage
I will always have the courage
to hold myself and others
to hold myself and others
accountable for our actions.
accountable for our actions.
I will always maintain the highest
I will always maintain the highest
ethical standards,
ethical standards,
upholding the values of my community
holding the values of my community
and the agency I serve.
and the agency I serve.
And I will faithfully
And I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
discharge the duties of a peace officer
discharge the duties of a peace officer
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
City. We're impressed, Mayor. He's so far made several good traffic stops too.
Yeah, I know one in particular.
That's what I was referring to. I watched the video just a minute ago. We also have one more. We have, well, at the time being, is Detective Corporal Clint Robinson. Clint come up with his wife. We're going to promote him to sergeant. He's going to be over the detective division, so it'll be Detective Sergeant Clint Robinson. And what we have some chevrons, have his wife. Actually, they're not English. They go up with a point up. Okay, not down.
It's always hard when everyone's watching, isn't it?
Did you mention the speech? Because that's what I.
If she did a public comment, she probably.
Yeah.
No,
You guys been married too long now?
thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. Thanks a lot, you too.
Yeah.
So I just have to say, super pleased with our police department. And I'd like to, I know this has been mentioned before, but truly I feel our police department is second to none right now. And really appreciate all the officers, chief, assistant chief, Officer Adams. You got baptized by fire. So anyway, we just have a great force right now. Appreciate everything that you do for our city. All right. Anything else as far as recognitions, swearing-ins? Okay. We'll go ahead and move on to the next item of business. Thanks for everybody that came to participate in that. First item is the Innovation Hub Interior Design Approval. So this is a project we've been working on for some time. The exterior is being done right now. I don't know if any of the council or anybody in the audience has seen what's going on with the old library, but it's under construction. And actually, yeah, I think we're okay. Yeah, Ryan, sorry. I just want to make sure there wasn't anything else we need to do. But I think we're good.
Christine just put out versions on the screen, you may not see them well, but what you're seeing here is many months of design of the interior of the Innovation Hub. We've been here, looked at it, tweaked it a little bit. One thing that I do want to know, I'm going to point at the screen actually up here. These two doors right here, and correct me if I'm wrong there, this door and this door is actually going to be moved here and here.
Yeah.
And that's the only changes that we caught as a committee that needs to be done with this current design.
Yeah. So there was a question, I guess we could bring it up just for those that may not know. The Innovation Hub is a space where small businesses can start out. It's a limited time that you can be there, a year, 18 months, and then the intent is for that small business to move on and rent another place or build their own place or something like that. So it's really basically a business incubator. And so that was a question that came up is, what are we doing there? What are the offices for? And if you notice, Vernal has one. It's been pretty successful. And again, it's just for startup businesses, people trying to get on their feet and have a pretty cheap retail, or not a retail, but an office space to get going.
From the old design to this one, we eliminated a couple offices, to make it to where these were more roomier. We kind of had them tight before. You could hardly fit a desk in there and work in there. So we did spread them out, and it actually worked out with the heating and air and the windows and everything. So this design, I think we nailed it right here. So if there's any questions or concerns on the design, we're more than happy to answer any questions, but this is brought to you so we can get it out for bid and get moving along on the interior.
The only other thought I had, Ryan, that on that wall, so the horseshoe shape, basically, it says that wall will go clear to the ceiling. And I wonder if we just take that wall to 8 or 10 feet. And then does that make sense? Because that where that peaks at the ceiling and things like that, it might be a little.
What do you want just with the height going from there up?
It'll match the other ones, so they'll be either rocked or some type of they'll be wrapped in a hardy backer or something like that.
Is that existing pipe already?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's 4 posts in there holding up them beams.
I think it's a really good use for those posts.
And it doesn't have to be that way, that's just a thought, just so that, a light and things like that, it still is tall enough to put the sign behind. But, it kind of caps up.
We can look at it when we get in there and
I
stuff.
don't think it's a big change.
One thing I did like that we changed is we moved that reception area too over in front of it.
Mhm.
Or it's already in the center, it's the first thing you see as you come in, so that'll be a good spot for it.
Any thoughts from the council?
I like it.
We're just approving the design furniture wise, if we put thought into that as well, or?
Not specifically, I mean, that this is a concept plan here as far as how many
Right.
can fit in there, but as far as style of furniture, is that what you're asking?
Well, and the reason I ask is I remember when we started this a long time ago, I went over to the one in Vernal. And if I remember right, they have some, like in the opener areas, they have like some depth that like you can stand at as opposed to seated and stuff. And I think that's helpful for those that would like something like that, but I'm not married to like everyone, but if we had some of those, I think in an area, I think would be nice for those people that would like something where they could stand as opposed to having to sit sit down sometimes. That's a nice option if, especially if because I'm assuming they'll be in their office working, but they may want to come out in this center area and, just to get out of their office a minute and be in that open area. But if they had a place where they could still kind of work, or someone pops in for a minute, they don't necessarily want to go in the main to their main office, maybe left their keys, but they just need a quiet place to work. It might be good to just, think of that. And I agree, I like the use of that area and the reception area moved up front. I think that's a good use of that space there. And I'm not opposed to what the mayor said. It might save us a little money not going all the way to the ceiling, but still have it kind of closed where people wanted to have maybe another room wasn't open or whatever, they could have a little private place to visit for a minute.
Yeah, and I should have, a little bit too on the sides, on the left and right, the bowed sides, those are only about a 4-foot wall.
Right.
And so, anyway, just so that you can envision that. One of the things, Don, just about the desks outside, we'll try to rent as much of that space as we can. And so what you see in Vernal is any of those standing desks and things, that's actually a space that they rent. It's just
Oh, really?
it's a cheaper space than,
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that.
than the office space. Yeah, so it's like, maybe half the price or something like that. If they don't need
A physical office room to be just a place to work.
the privacy and things like that, and they can just go in and have it. And so that's kind of a designated,
Okay,
somebody's designated work area.
Which
If it's
is
not
what-
rented out, then maybe somebody could jump on.
so that's what you talked about, those open office, that's what you're talking about there. They can still rent space there, they just wouldn't have a physical.
Yeah, and it'd be a
Office.
much cheaper space. If they're, working from home and it's easier for them to come down here and work versus having the kids in the background and things like that. They don't need an official office, then.
That's good clarification, thank you.
So, any other thoughts with the basic design?
Is this existing utility room, is that washer and dryer in there?
Furnaces.
Furnaces, okay.
Yeah.
Utility room and utilities, okay.
That's, we're not changing much there, that's already set up, so.
And for the space, the restrooms, those should be adequate for the number of people potentially in there.
That's a Drew, well,
We had Drew and Dean looked at them, where they were ADA accessible too, I believe, right?
Okay.
a water drinking fountain in between them so people can fill water bottles.
Right.
With lots of ends. Conference room, we're keeping the sink in. The break room has a sink in it. So, we could rent a conference room out to,
Groups or,
small groups.
Yeah. the back door, is that just emergency exit?
Mhm.
Because we want them to come in the front there, right?
Right.
On
Yeah.
the south side. Okay. I think it looks really good. I hope that'll be something people can utilize. But looking at the space, I think we utilize about as much as we can what we have. And like I said, the conference room, I think, is huge, having that big space. Because that can be utilized by more than one group. You know, there's clubs or organizations that want to meet, you know, once a month or something, if they're willing to pay for that, they could.
And those people that are, renting office space, if they need a little bit bigger venue to,
Right.
then they can schedule the conference room. It's kind of nice.
No, that's definitely a need. I agree. That has to be there, so. So we just need a motion to move forward with the 2 minor changes or whatever that were.
And it'll be a motion to go out to bid, right?
Go out to
We're just
bid.
going to bid, it's not,
Yeah, and then I'll present the bid to you guys on who we want to award it to and proceed forward.
Well, I would move, we'd go forward with the bid then, with the,
we have a motion. Second by Councilman Goodrich. It might take me a minute to get that. Councilman Goodrich, all in favor?
aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
Thanks, Ryan, for all your work.
Yeah,
yeah, and then the Ed Ledger, right?
okay, I guess we got the next 2.
Yeah, get comfortable.
Yeah. Oh, these will be pretty quick. We have that sunshine that they can shoot. This right away, the next 2 right aways they're the cookie cutter from the one we had before, right? That we had all those that come in through, except for the Ed Blanchard one. If you look on the second sentence, it's the city is, install a 4-foot tall steel pipe fence, 50-foot long. This is right as you're going off the hill, where the tunnel's gonna go through on State Street. It's just right on the west side. And there's a spot there where people keep walking along that hillside and going into where his horses are. So, he did want a place to have it to where his horses can water, but we didn't like the idea of going in the creek and everything. So he was good with that, and he decided that this 50-foot long fence would be adequate. And I think we need it anyway, just to keep that traffic from going under the tunnel on that side. So anyway, that's what we propose on this first agreement with Ed.
Will we put signs up too, no trespassing or something, or?
We
I'm just
can-
worried 4 feet. I mean, yeah, most people, normal people are probably gonna say, okay. But you'll have some people may 4 feet. I mean, my old days, I could probably jump over it, step over it, Probably need a ladder now, but.
We were just gonna match the fence we put down in the parking lot. That's kind of what he looked at. He
Right.
said, yeah, I like that, so let's do that.
No, and I think it's good. I just, that's my only concern. If he wants to, okay. Well, he didn't put it in the agreement, so I'm okay to.
Yeah, he's okay with the agreement.
Yeah, he's seen it, right, Jason?
Yeah,
He knows it's. Jason spoke with him. I should have him up here.
He's had a copy of this, and I discussed this with him, that he just, ultimately, he's just got a lot of people that are going through his property right now. He's just trying to he wants to eliminate that, especially with more traffic going on that trail in the future.
I say we just electrify it. Electric fence, that'll keep people deterred.
He's okay with it. Like I said, I think 4 feet's fine. I just know you may have a few that, but maybe that's up to him, that if it becomes a problem for him, he can put up some private property or no trespassing or whatever, if he felt that was necessary.
We could probably do that as in good faith, not that it needs to be in the agreement, but just, no trespassing.
I would move we approve then.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second? Second by Councilman Allen. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion is unanimous. Next, Moon Lake right away.
What I should have mentioned too, it would have helped, that Grant's reviewed both of these, by the way, so.
Well, I talked to you, that's why I knew that,
I knew I mentioned it sometime today, so.
that's why I made the motion, because I knew Grant had reviewed them. So.
Yeah, he's reviewed both of these. So this is the Moon Lake one. They went in and made a few tweaks. If you can scroll down just a hair.
on that second page, Sunshine. This is the biggest thing they added. And it's just more verbiage in there as far as a little bit more detailed on what they were requesting on Moon Lake, letting Roosevelt come in and cut down clear away trees and keep it clean in that aspect of it along the trail and whatever it might be in the way of. And then the second paragraph is going in more detail of us not holding them harmless for any wrongdoing that happens in there. So that's, again, Grant's looked at these, he's felt good about it and it was okay for us to proceed forward.
They had to have their lawyer add his
Yeah.
legalese to it.
Yeah, it's fun when you get two of them going back and forth. Ain't that right, Grant?
Everybody's trying to protect everyone's, right?
Right.
Cool. Any other questions, concerns?
No, I move we approve.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second? Second by Councilman. You're okay with Councilman? Okay. Councilman Goodrich, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and how many more do we have to finish the
On the west side, we have one that needs to be signed, right? We have one, and on the east side, we still have a couple. Yeah, but we're busy now to where we're able to do a lot of work. I mean, we got the school district, that's where we're working right now, and heading west, so, yeah, it's been good, but we're getting them.
Thank you. Drew, you're up.
Okay.
So first we have the Summer Hills subdivision amendment. I'll just announce them real quick. The Summer Hills preliminary plat approval and the Nelson lot line adjustments.
On the Summer Hills subdivision, we had two items that we'll need to make action on: the preliminary plat approval and the plat amendment. So what has happened here on the far east side, on the right side of that plat, it converted to 3 lots from about 12. So they consolidated into three lots that will be zoned PO&R, professional office and residential. I believe the larger lots will be for professional office. And
Is there anything on there right now in that, or is it? Okay.
so we're looking for 2 separate approvals for the preliminary and for the plat amendment for tonight.
Okay, any questions from the
So
council?
when you changed it and it's professional office or residential,
Yeah, it's dual purpose or
Can you
either residential.
Can you show on the map where this is? Because,
I know where it is, it's right there behind.
well, yeah, the reason I say that is the zoning map already shows, but there is already some professional office in that.
Right.
So it's not,
There's the dentist office and.
I think it'd be helpful just to see how it works with our planning and zoning map, because that's what we might be concerned about.
So the one side of the street would be residential and the other would be.
So they would both be PO&R, but their plans are to develop the
bigger lot.
the bigger lots as professional office,
Okay.
but they can do either or. This won't show
Yeah,
the
that's not-
zoning, but it will show you the location.
Okay.
Yeah, right there.
So the east are going to be the bigger lots.
Yeah, so those lots on the far east side will be consolidated to the 3 lots. And everything on the
It's like your
west
neighborhood.
is.
Isn't it?
Yeah, that's my neighborhood, so. Yeah, I would love to see that developed a little more.
So would we.
I'm sure you would. Been a long time.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
If I remember correctly, you were in here a couple of years ago. There's some drainage things that need to be addressed.
Yep, got that taken care of.
Well, they also came in to see about getting it changed, zone changed, and then they found out after it was already zoned for that.
Yeah,
It was loud.
we've been working on this for almost 20 years,
Yeah,
so don't get me started.
I remember when they bought it first.
Yep.
Any questions or concerns?
No, I think it fits within all of our requirements. Planning and zoning approved it, right?
Yes, they did, and we are currently reviewing the construction documents for the construction of the subdivision, which you'll see probably next meeting.
Okay. So do I have to do a separate motion for
Yes,
each?
please.
So which one, does it matter, the order?
Sunshine, which one's on there first?
The amendments.
Okay, so I move we approve the Summerhill subdivision amendment.
Second that.
And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And
Motion passes.
then I would move we approve the Summerhill's preliminary plat approval.
We have a motion. Number, second by Councilman Goodrich, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Okay.
Yeah, there's 2 Mylars. If they can sign both of them, that would be helpful.
You need two?
Just sign them while we're here, that'd be great. He said you guys have to have one and the county has to have one.
Should I start that? Should be right. I know I spelled that right. Okay.
Great.
No pressure? Okay, so the next one we have,
And then something about the adjustment.
the Nelson lot line adjustment. So this would be cleaning up a mess that was created years and years ago. The owner of, let me just walk up here and show you. Can you zoom in on that a little? So this parcel number 1, the home as it sits now is in this shaded area on the neighbor's lot, a portion of the north end of the home. So to clean it up and get it in the confines of parcel number 1, we're doing a lot line adjustment. So the home is actually on the parcel property that it is supposed to be in.
Bill Pond?
Yes. So we ran it through planning and zoning. Everything is to our suitability. Now, this one, just for the record, the setbacks to the property line, we did have to shrink a little bit just to get it in. But under the circumstances, I think this is one that we need to make that exception just to get the house on the right lot.
And the homeowner that's losing just a little bit, they were okay, I meant to ask you that earlier today.
Yeah, they did sign the plat. Eric Nelson is here representing parcel number 1. It's Glines, what is his first name? George Glines.
Oh, okay.
That parcel number 2, and he did sign the plat, so we'll assume he's okay with it if he signed it.
Any other questions? Seeing none, would entertain a motion.
I move we approve.
We have a motion to approve. Second by Councilman Baird. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Let me choose slowly.
We're pretty good.
That's fine. Thank you so much.
Okay. And moving to the next item, we have Michael's tonight. Our favorite thing, reviewing the ordinances and the titles. So we'll go ahead and invite you up. Drew, you're still up. Do you want to?
Well, we can have
Participate?
All right, so big deal. Mike Hansen, we're community consultants. We've been working with your code update for entirely too long. Just kidding, we love your code, we love to hang out with it. If anybody here is new to this initiative, the idea was originally that we would just come into your code and read it top to bottom as if we were folks from the outside, users of your code, and try to line you up with state statute and any kind of internal inconsistencies. We're big fans of what we call plain language, so meaning normal humans can understand what it is actually trying to convey. So we've been doing that. Our last time we were out here, we talked about titles 1, 2, 3, 4, and I think 13. Those edits, if you want to go back and see the website that's up on the screen right now, kind of our dashboard, it goes into these draft documents. We've made all of those. You can track them. I can show you if you need to, but those were good ones. The one that I really wanted to make sure the council knew that the ordained or some really great language. We figured since it's called the enacting clause, we'll say instead of ordained, we said it enacted. So you guys can sleep well now. We made sure all those comments were in there. We struck our suggestion on the entire Title 4. That was that Government Records Management Act. So we agree. You just need to reference state code because it does tend to change in the last session. So those changes were made. Tonight, what we'd like to do is talk about Titles 5, 7, 5, 8, 9, and 10. If we could just go backwards in that order, it might be easier to understand. That's okay. Title 10 is vehicles and traffic. And we just had a few really high-level questions we wanted to get some clarity on before we bring our final recommendation on it. The first is on, I don't know if we have a reference on there, but basically your local code doesn't directly reference the state code because the state does have language on vehicles and traffic. We were wondering if we could just add that as adopted by.
I would think so, too.
Yeah, that's gonna be it. Where's Chief?
It's right there.
Which you can, again, because you're a municipality, you can make something more strict, just not less.
So have you read the state code in regards to historic motor vehicle act, traffic code, and related provisions? They were just wondering if we could just basically carbon copy the state code, or if we needed anything different.
Or even just point to it.
Yeah, to be honest.
It trumps the city code.
Right.
So any issues, Mr. Trump?
Yeah, I was just wondering if it's.
We're not using anything that's more stricter than state
Okay.
code, so my recommendation is just to reference state code.
Okay.
Perfect.
Good. We assumed, we just wanted to ask. Second point we wanted to ask is, your current code says that the city is enforcing traffic and parking on school district property. You want to continue to do that?
No.
Chief said yes, but I think.
Right now.
And I think our MOU also reflects kind of that, not so many words there for the students, not.
Well, and I already talked to the district. They have a policy for parking, but they don't even enforce or follow their own policy. So I'm trying to get them to fix theirs.
How would they, if, that's just a question I have, how would the school district enforce it? What means would they use?
Well, they would have to have everyone sign up. They'd have to have like a parking sticker. They'd have to have someone go out and then check the parking stickers to see and set up like this is like they do at the universities, right? Like this is R or S or T or whatever area.
But as far as enforcement, yeah, that's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
How would they?
Oh, well, that, they would just they could send a fine, but again, whether someone pays or not, I don't know.
In the past, they had they had RPD do it in the past.
Yeah,
Not since I've been here, but.
yeah, I don't think,
Past, they have.
and they're not doing it, so I don't think we need to worry about it.
That, and I think our officers need to concentrate on
Right.
our kids and moving right in that direction.
Great, noted. On section 10(8)(20), it talked about truck routes. And I think if I remember, yeah, it lists them out. Do you have new ones, is our question. Some of that probably would have been an email, but do any of those look different?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay.
I didn't know this.
All right, and on parking, this is probably the one that, we want to chat about. It's on snow removal. You know, we have, this is common in other jurisdictions across the state to require your vehicle to be off of a public street. Sorry, it's section 10(12)75. During snowplow operations. We just need to know what your local preference would be. There was even a public comment that came in on this one. That was confused, that a person was just confused, do I have to have my sidewalks cleared by 9 o'clock, or is it within 16 hours? So that, it just seems like this is a normal person's issue, so, that's just kind of our question is, do you want the streets to be cleared before you clear the streets?
Kirby?
Yeah.
Yes, you want that?
It's kind of tough, but we would like, we get out early as we can with plows, as you guys know. And, as soon as possible, clear their sidewalks, which the council still on that.
What about,
Because we could roll it back, we try not to roll it on the sidewalks, but sometimes that happens.
I think that's the comment I've received, is
Yes.
people clear their sidewalks and then they get covered again over and over, so. But there's really not much we can do about that, so I don't know what's the best way to deal with that is.
There's also the snow blower that throws it back into the street.
Don't just go on their own property or
There you go.
So.
So the language we added is language that we've seen in other towns. They get pretty good snow. It's within 16 hours. You have to clear the sidewalk, and you should have your car on the street.
yeah, that's the other one I had, Kirby. Would that help you guys if people have their cars?
Absolutely. That's a big issue. Cars and trailers that are parked and left and.
I know like in Logan City, you just cannot park on the street at all in the winter.
Especially, during storms, so that's a good thing. Me and Chief have been discussing a little bit this, right, Chief? On the snow removal?
Yeah, there is absolutely no direction that is simple in any way to go on. This would be council, getting these snow off the roads so these guys can properly clear the street is an issue. Manpower and enforcing it, giving time frames and 16 hours, how long has it been between snowstorms, can be problematic in the past when experienced in other departments. Again, there's no, it would be the council's preference of which direction they want to go. You talk Logan City, I know Springville has it where between the certain winter months, you can't park on the street, period, between 8 p.m. and 5 a.m. or something like that. But I do, my experience with this in other cities, enforcing snow ordinances and stuff, if you're gonna have one, my suggestion would be you make it clear, not 16 hours after snow because people think, well, I parked there 15 hours, it wasn't 16, or it's gotta be clear, because this can also be a friction.
Huge friction.
Yeah.
I'm in Springville, and the road next to me, you can't park there between November and March 31st. But my street, you can. It's ridiculous. And it's nothing to do with the school route, and it is the most convoluted thing that nobody follows. So, yeah.
It is, and again, there is an issue with snowplows, right?
Yes.
And in clearing, there's vehicles, we were in discussion talking about vehicles left on the road over a period of time and unregistered, we would start hitting those as well. That would help alleviate some of the issues here,
Yeah.
but again, all in council's court on which direction.
Well,
you
this
want
is,
to go.
this is interesting too, though, because it's not really talking about parking on the street, it's talking about whose responsibility it is to remove the snow from the sidewalk itself.
Mhm.
And that's every homeowner, you know, property line to property line.
Yeah, that's one thing, 16 hours is, 16 hours after snowstorm needs to be removed, something like that.
What about the property not developed? Who takes care of that sidewalk?
It's not developed?
The elderly that have no means of cleaning it.
Well,
as
it would be the property owner, so it'd be the developer. I think.
Well, it's vacant land, so, and the man lives in Salt Lake.
We'll just send him a bill for the removal of snow.
Well, you want his address?
Hey, well, I'll give it to you after the meeting, that's what it out.
You know, and the removal of the vehicles, that helps with liability for the city because you'll have claims that the plow might have put something up. And there could be a broken mirror already, but they'll always say, you know, maybe you guys have to do that. You know what I mean? So that will alleviate that if there is no parking.
I agree with you on that. I can't stand to see the parking on the streets through the neighborhoods. Not only is it a hazard, you know, trying to plow the streets,
It is.
but just think about kids playing in the area and crossing and things like that. Sorry, I'm not reading that.
What would be your ideal time for the streets to be clear? Like, if you're plowing, could we let them park there during the day if they're coming and going, and then clear it? Like, not park between 10 and 6, 10 and 8?
Yeah, you know,
Or just stay
I'd
out in the
rather-
winter?
Yeah, I would rather have like a few months of the year not parking on the street, you know, if possible, you know, and that would be to me, December, January's the main,
February?
yeah, I would.
So maybe if we did 3
Oh, 3
months.
months, yeah, I would personally prefer that, you know, because a time thing, you're gonna have a lot of people say, well, I work at night.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? So I would go with those months if it was my.
I would suggest this be that time period, because if we set it on snow or after snowstorm or something, my officer may be completely tied up in something that night and unable to do some enforcement if you're off. I would suggest we make it very clear, very similar to what Springville has. That would be my suggestion.
So I like the idea of having,
Except for not the convoluted.
But not that.
I like the idea of having snow clear within 24 hours. I don't know if 16 is enough for some people, you know, but, as far as sidewalks go, but I do like the idea of having no parking on roads for December, January, February.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's a good metric, at least start, and we can kind of gauge it from there. I feel like just December, January is really where we need, you know, that's the sweet spot, then we can, you know, adjust later.
So you're suggesting that no parking at all, or no parking between 10 PM and 6 AM or something?
Well,
No parking on the street, December, January, February.
Yeah.
Is that clear enough for you?
Like that's crystal clear.
Yeah.
Clarification, are you talking residential zones only, or the entire city? Because you have Main Street where there's parking.
I would say neighborhoods, residential.
Yeah,
From the garbage company's perspective, you can have March, April, May, June, July.
Oh, it drives me nuts.
So I think you need to rework the snow removal a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah, we just need to know the direction. We've seen we've got an office out here, we know what Roosevelt snow is like. Comes down, freezes solid. Okay, thank you, that, what I needed on title 10.
I have a couple of questions on
Yeah.
10. On 10.04.05, zero parking prohibited. It says on number 3, no parking shall be allowed in the areas designated handicap parking unless one is legitimately handicapped. Does that mean we have to see if they like are on have a cane or in a wheelchair, or to me, I thought it was just they have a registered handicap,
Yeah.
like sticker or card to hang up, or you know what I'm saying? That didn't. It just sounded like I have to go out and follow them into the store to see if there really are. I don't know. I mean, just the wording seemed kind of messy to me.
What's that?
10.04.050 parking prohibited. Number 3, also on, and again, this kind of goes to what we've talked about, but 10.08.030, 10.08.030 parking on city streets. No vehicles shall be parked on public streets in a residential area other than the designated routes listed, the highway routes is what I understand, or except while actually loading or unloading merchandise, in which event the vehicle. So in my idea, when it says residential area, it says we shouldn't have any parking. Am I reading that wrong or misunderstanding?
No, I think that's correct.
And I don't, is that what our ordinance says?
And that's why.
Yeah.
This is why I said, when we were talking about some Monday, Tuesday, or December, January, February, I was thinking, this is
Right.
something that's already.
Because it looks to me like we have an ordinance where they shouldn't be parking on the streets at all, which would then help, the K&K, but also the roads if they're, I know Clyde runs a sweeper in this spring, summer, and fall, and can't, people leave their vehicles out there, et cetera. I just want to clarify what we're doing there.
Councilman, I believe that's new vehicle defined in section 10 point, don't you just call that one? That's just large vehicles.
Just large vehicles?
Semis. It's
Okay.
only defined here, so.
Okay, so I'm misreading part of that.
Okay.
So here's my, and I'm just gonna, I'll just say it and I'll just throw it out there. The city street is city property. And so is the sidewalk, basically. Well, that could be, but the city street itself is city property. So what I've seen, and I'm not, is somebody in a residence might have 6 vehicles. They can't fit all of their vehicles on their own property, so they park them on the city street. And then that becomes a problem. And that's my concern, especially through residential areas. You have trash pickup, you have, snow plowing, you have cars parked in the middle of the street where, you have kids playing and things like that. It's a safety issue. And I just don't think we should get in the habit of utilizing our city streets as private property. I could be totally wrong, but that's my personal, that's my own personal, that is city property. If you want to buy more property, if you want to move your car somewhere else, whatever you want to do, that's fine, but really that's city property, and it's meant that way to be maintained, clean, so that we can get things done. And I think if we get in the habit of, I don't know, it's a catch-22, but, yeah.
My thought is that as long as cars aren't parked there for extended periods of time, they're just fine. I think that's what curbs are for. Unless it's painted a different color, for school districts or whatever. I don't know, I feel like
Well,
really necessary. I mean, you have parties at your house and you have a bunch of
Yeah, for sure, no doubt about
But if you have cars parked there that are there for months, I mean, if they're leaving every day and coming back, I think it's not as big of a deal, honestly. But
and they do have trailers. I know they'll be parked on the street for long periods, but those would be larger. But I've seen those, and sometimes they're a hazard, just like by stop signs. You can't see the stop sign, or you can't see traffic. You have to pull out into traffic almost to be able to see if anyone's coming. So I know there are some safety issues, but I think it goes back to what you said. If they're there for long periods of time versus, at a party or get together.
that's typically what we're enforcing right now anyway, isn't it? Is there
I don't think
enforcement?
much is being enforced right now. If you look through a lot of neighborhoods.
Yeah, I see cars that have been there. They sit there through the whole winter, they're covered with snow, you don't even see
But
the car
again,
anymore after.
that goes back to Chief's issue is, are they gonna start, do they go around every neighborhood and put a date on the door of every car so that they can see how long, I don't know,
On that kind of thing, like, yeah, if a car's been there, if it's unlicensed for sure, and then, I don't know, there's indicators at different times of the season that can really point out to somebody that's been there a while, so.
This and the snow removal thing is, believe me, my experience in the past, it just gets ugly no matter how you cut it. Because we'll notice one, but we won't notice this one over here. And then we'll pick on this one, and now we're not doing, or, and then now I've got officers tied up in that instead of getting drugs off the street and another thing. My only suggestion would be just make it clearly defined, and then we can get it out to the public. Little stickers on whatever, spend a year getting everybody educated, and then we can go from there. It's, not.
If I might just take a minute, we've had several complaints as well along this lines of my neighbors parking vehicles in my front yard. And there's nothing that we can do to stop that because it is public street. And we have had that a lot.
Yeah.
Which, in my opinion, I think it's perfectly okay. Just because, I don't know, I've seen it too. I had some neighbors across the street, they put signs all along the fence that you can park there, and I'm thinking they can't do that, but yeah, I don't know.
It is.
But it shouldn't be parked there permanently, like it's just a temporary spot.
Yeah, it's
That's my thing, is if they're using the public street as a driveway, that is not the function of our public streets.
Right.
And so we shouldn't be using our public streets as private property, is all I'm getting at.
Personal thing, I don't have a driveway anymore.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
He's parked on the sidewalk. That's right,
Some
because-
things that's beyond my control.
Sure.
I want a street, I want a sidewalk. I gave up a driveway.
That's true. You have a unique situation there, there's no doubt.
I am unique.
But that is also more of a feeder route in a thoroughfare versus a residential street. So we'll just call it that.
Well, it's a good direction. I can come back and give some different ideas maybe.
Will you see what other cities do along those lines as far as how they treat their streets, if they allow, I'd just be curious. It sounds like our ordinance already says.
The larger vehicles, yeah.
Oh, yeah, for larger vehicles, but not.
With traffic being through and out.
I would think so.
And
I know living up where I used to live, if any of the neighbors parked on the street, you didn't have to enforce it because the other neighbors were on your case. Get your car off the street.
So right now, trailers, actually, if they do not move within 72 hours, they are not allowed on the street. There's one right across the street. We've got a bunch.
That's the problem.
Our roads are super wide, so there's definitely room for parking on the sides too, though. In a lot of cities, there's not that extra room, and so, especially like my road, 60 feet wide or more. And
but a lot of your road doesn't have sidewalks,
yeah.
and it's a school road.
Yeah, but they're not gonna make the roads smaller to put sidewalks in. We haven't, we could, but they put sidewalks on one side of the road and they didn't make the road more.
It comes down to the safety issue with kids.
Yeah.
People trying to walk.
You can't see
You
it.
see the blind spots, kids, I've seen them, they're
Saying
from
there.
behind cars. The cars are not, they're like for you. Anyway,
Okay.
I'm not saying one way or the other, just that was my personal feelings.
That's great. Well, this gives me good direction. We can bring some new language. Any other questions on 10? Did you want to bring up the issues? Title IX was really, we just recommended deleting all. It was, you have a whole title called Public Peace, Morals, and Welfare. And it had one issue talked about it, and it was curfew, I think. So we just don't understand why that's a standalone title. We just picked that up and moved it to 8. Don't know if that is on purpose or we just
But it gives you another reserve title that you can do.
Because we need more code.
Gives you more.
Actually, this is good, because we eliminated, let's say, Title IX, and then
You got reports.
that's what we're doing here.
Okay, your Title VIII is health and safety. A lot of this is directed by public safety and state code, and so, we didn't make a lot of recommended changes here. There was one I wanted to talk about, on your garbage collection and disposal. It's section 8.8.30. Anyway, it just says, if somebody has a financial crisis or something, they can go to the mayor and the mayor can reduce their fees. It's your existing language.
That's the only authority I have right there. And you're gonna take it away.
You can, what?
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, well, we're just recommending. No, it's actually still there. We just wondered, is that on purpose? Keep doing that. The mayor still has to bring it to the council. So we wonder, is somebody else got that authority? Has that been delegated to somebody else and you're just gonna keep delegating it, so we should just change it in code, or do you wanna keep it as it is?
We haven't been, well, it depends on, we did have some people working at front desks that would make adjustments and things like that, whether it's allowed or not. Working with people, I don't know if that's happening much anymore. Do we want some flexibility that way? As a council? To allow staff, it would be our treasurer.
Okay.
Who would ultimately, they take the payments, and so they would be the ones to make the judgment call if it were to be allowed. I don't think.
In this language, it says that it would be the council, the mayor with the consent of the council and the refused contractor, so it would require all three of us to consent.
Kind of sounds like that.
So, anyway.
I mean, mind you, it was crossed out and put city council.
Well, it said governing body.
Yeah, but the governing body is.
Oh, do you have a?
Well, the thing of it is, the only reason I made that comment is I know in other codes, it refers to the council as a governing body. I just want to make sure that there's consistency there. So if we change that one, we need to make sure we change the rest, or we leave it as governing body if it matches the other code. So. Who has?
I think I'm also changing everything to city council.
Okay.
Well, we'll check, because if you had a.
Yeah, I thought of this, at least in 8, you crossed out governing body and city council. So.
Yeah, it looks, yeah.
But if you had a committee.
2 strikeouts at governing body below.
But the larger picture for us is waive fees, yes, no, and if so, does it have to go to mayor, council, or whatever, or can we? Maybe.
That's so difficult. I mean, it seems like it probably would never happen anyway.
My thought would be, if we were to allow somebody else to do it, there would have to be a limit on what they could. Let's say somebody gets a $2,000 or $3,000 bill racked up, something like that. I mean,
yeah,
is that something that we want to treasure for getting? Probably not. If it's $20, it's within their purview. So I don't know if we want to define it out and get that detailed, or if we want to just say for now.
This is specific to garbage though, which those fees are not yearly hours.
Yeah, because our garbage fees are tied to our water bill and our.
Right.
We don't have collections anymore, right?
No, we do. But I was gonna say, if we approve something like that, the city would have to come up with the difference, because unless K&K also was willing to do something, so we'd have to reach to them. But if they said, no, we need the money, then, the city then would have to pick it up, I would assume.
Yeah, and that's happened in the past.
So it depends on how you want it paid, I guess, if
And I don't
we're
think it should
paying
be
it.
specific to garbage either, because their garbage bill doesn't come separate from their water bill or anything else. It's all lumped into one.
Well, we do that with the water and the sewer, right? Don't we already we can reduce that and help with water?
As far as I know, we never do a reduction in the fees actually charged for water or sewer. There have been times when there's been discussion about penalties
Oh, okay.
or that type of thing to help somebody get caught up. But if you bring it up to date, we can eliminate
Right.
the penalties or something.
So if we just remove that language, what would be the harm, Grant?
No, and that would be my recommendation, would be to take it out. The way that it is right now, in our current contract with KNA, this contradicts what's in our contract, because right now, they don't get paid until we collect it. So I think it's cleaner to take it out, and then if situations come up where people are approaching the council asking for help with something, we would figure out a different way to do it than what they have.
I like
And
that.
I would think it would be tied to utility fees, not just garbage fee.
Right.
Because that includes all of them.
Yeah, I like that. Let's take it out.
Good lead stuff. Second point is just 2 points down on, no accumulation of garbage. It references a municipal health officer. We don't know who that is.
Drew.
Or what that is.
Drew, put that hat on, would you, Drew?
Yeah. Let's go.
He's the catch-up.
Yes. It's true. Okay, yeah.
So I wonder if we would mention, so read that one more time. I can't see it very well.
Yeah, it's unlawful for any person to accumulate garbage or refuse or cause, there you go, on a street or alley or premises in the city without express permission from the municipal health officer.
I would say more like the Tri-County Health Department, something like that.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking too.
Okay, yeah, we kind of thought the same, but I think we got in there somehow. Okay, the rest, the one thing under, oh, do you have more?
I have, again, I try to read through and I just, mostly clarification for me, because I'm not very bright, I don't understand things, so. On 8-440, sweeping litter into gutters is prohibited. If I'm guilty then, I've broken this law because I blow the weeds or the leaves out of my yard and.
Did you read the definition of litter?
Yeah, it says that in
There
there.
you go. I was just wondering.
So yeah, I broke the law. I'm admitting it, so I guess I need to take it.
Chief, would you call Officer Adams?
Yeah, he needs more. But I guess how, to me, if it's just a little bit, I don't, it's not like I'm dumping bags of garbage on the street. There's a few leaves that are along my sidewalk that I'm just trying to clear up so it doesn't look bad. And, if I'm wrong, I guess I need to do a better job.
Are you opposed to putting them in a trash can?
I usually pick the ones up in my yard. It's just the ones on the sidewalk and stuff, so.
Yeah.
My question is how prohibitive, and I know we don't have an ordinance officer and I don't expect the police. I just saw that.
Here's the ordinance.
And by definition, it just made me pause, and I don't know if other people, if everyone does it the same way.
That is true, actually.
Yeah. Your stormwater folks would love to see that in there, but yeah, to the point of enforcement, very.
Well, and like I said, I'm not opposed to changing my habits. I just more was like, that seemed kind of,
It's not uncommon, like, I'm not gonna throw anybody to the bus, but I know Northeastern Office Supply. He's always out there with his weed blower.
right, well, and I've
blowing
seen
out the road.
I've seen them in other businesses doing the same thing where they got a weed blower or whatever. Like I said, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it's an ordinance and we technically could nitpick and get somebody. And I don't want a lot of rubbish and garbage is what I'm saying. But at the same token, a
I
little.
think the easier thing to do would be to change the definition of litter to refuge versus leaves or something like that.
Right, that's what I'm wondering, if maybe we need to reevaluate that.
I think it's a good thing to just have in the city code and.
Yeah, I'm not in,
Because all those leaves end up somewhere.
right, I'm not anti the code. I'm just wondering how restrictive we want it to be, you know what I'm saying? And then almost to the end of the street, but eventually be developed, I'm sure they won't want it. I'll have to do things differently, so. And I always hope Clyde will come by eventually and pick up my leaves when he's sweeping the streets, but I probably shouldn't hope that.
You're not the only one though.
understand.
Tires are always a good option.
I'm just curious if there's other, I don't think we get rid of it, but maybe adjustment, like Mayor said on the definition.
Yeah.
On 870, it says all garbage and market waste must be placed in rainproof or fly-proof receptacles of the type herein required, and the receptacle shall be tightly closed. I mean, K&K, I'm sure can adjust after Christmas, half the garbage cans are half open or all the way open, and it can be a challenge. Again, just questioning, I don't say it's a bad policy, but again, maybe we need to do a better job educating people, but I'm sure that's
I think having something in law is good, just healthy to have it there, just so that we can use
Well,
that.
this doesn't say that it needs to be closed.
it says place
Well, it just says all garbage and market waste must
tightly
be placed
closed
in rainproof and fly-proof receptacles.
and tightly closed.
Okay.
That's what I like that. I'm not anti the law. I'm just saying what I've seen in the city. So I'm just having a discussion here.
And I guess the
I see
question
the
is, we
reason.
want everything in conformance with the law 100%, so we're willing to get rid of the law to do that, or do we want the law there so that we can still, if we needed to, enforce it?
Right, and that's all I'm saying. I
Well,
don't
if we
know
really wanted to enforce it, we just tell K&K not to pick up the trash can
if it's open.
No.
That would go over big.
It's catch-22, because honestly speaking, from our side of it, which, we're talking about landfill here in a few minutes anyway, the can being closed, that's kind of the limit type thing. Anything above it, then it starts coming out of our pocket.
Right.
Well, and not to mention, the reason I do like the tightly closed, not saying that I've always followed that, is when the wind blows or something like that, where does the trash end up? The neighbor's yard. And
I just think maybe I'm not saying we change it, but maybe I didn't realize it was in code, and maybe we need to do some educating is all. 8880, the next one, time and
Wait
place.
just a second.
Oh, sorry.
Is the fly-proof and odor-proof even possible?
no, and that's the other thing.
And so I think we ought to be getting rid of that, because we know what the cans we have right now, the lids, I'm sure help, but I would like to see the wording change, because I just don't think that it's.
Okay. So I think I like that. Thanks, Grant, by the way. On 8880, the next one, it says that the city council it says all garbage and refuse subject to garbage collection by the city shall be placed at pickup point at or near premises. That's fine. Designated from time to time by regulations adopted by the city. That's fine. And at such time or times shall be designated by regulations of the city council. We don't do that. K&K sets their schedule, right? Do we? And again, we can leave it. I'm working that last part about basically designated the time or times, right?
So there are time frames within our contract with.
I understand that. That's not what I'm saying. It says the city council is supposed to regulate that. That's all I'm asking is.
Yeah. One quick thing. Go ahead, Dave.
No.
Well, I was actually going to go back to the other one, which ties into this one. So I was just talking. You have on the other one 070 or 070, in talking about the receptacle. You probably have a description of the receptacle that you use, correct? So we can just use whatever description you have in
It's actually, the last time I read the code actually reads metal cans.
Back in that day.
Yeah.
Back in that day. So that's how, no offense, but that portion of the code needs to be updated.
Which is why we hired these guys.
Yeah, so what they're saying is somewhere in this code, it's referencing metal cans. So we need to make sure that changes, and then we need a description of the can that we're currently using, and that would take care of that issue. The other thing that ties into this is all we put in there is I don't know if it specifies in our contract, Grant, the times that you guys will pick up. Or it does.
It's in there, yeah.
So I would just put designated by through contract or whatever.
Well, that would then mean city council approved it, but I'm just saying we didn't. It just felt like we were like saying, these are the pickup times or whatever as a council, where I don't know.
Well, the regulations by regulations of the city council, I would just say designated by.
Contract or resolution.
Yeah.
I guess I interpret it a little bit different. I think through the contract, you are regulating it.
So
the adopted part, I would just strike adopt.
okay. And maybe that's all I need cleared up. I did, like I said, it was just a little confusing to me, but as I said, I'm not very bright. That's why I have questions.
And Michael, I think, like, while you're working on that, I am a huge fan of plain language, not legal plain language, but like me plain language that I can understand. So if you can put that in a way that's a little bit more easy for somebody like me to understand.
No, I love that. In fact, you were right. It's up in definitions. It says galvanized metal.
Yeah.
It says for material, but still, yeah.
And on number 2, it also says that people can't put the garbage cans out the evening before. The evening collection prior to the evening of the day before collection. So that's as soon as they could go out. But if someone goes on vacation, again, I'm not saying we need to change anything. I'm just saying we're not monitoring. I'm not trying to overcode this. I just am asking because I know people that put it out 2-3 days ahead because they're going to be gone, you know? And so I'm hoping people are, anyway.
You gotta be a friendly neighbor, so you.
Yeah, I know, I mean,
Pick up your.
I'm near Fred Butterfield, he takes everyone's out and puts them all back in. He runs around all the time, does a great job.
He does it, yeah.
It's
crazy.
It says on R8-1240, or 8-1240, if any owner or occupant of lands described in such note, I guess, failed to or neglect to eradicate or destroy or remove such weeds, garbage, refuse, object, or structures upon the premises in accordance with such notice, it shall be the duty of the zoning administrator or designee at the expense of the city to employ such necessary assistance and basically remove them.
Yeah, but then it says.
Yeah, and I know it says there's an itemized, I just wonder, do we?
We have that in code, and yes.
I know it's in code, but do we do that? I know we go tell people.
We have done that. And just recently with the trailer house, down south, well, it's not recently, but, yeah, there's been times when, not very often, but we want to maintain the right to do that.
Right, and I was more just asking if we've been doing it. I noticed it's in code. I assume you're the zone administrator there, zoning?
So we don't go looking for it. If an occasion arises where we get civil complaints or a complaint, then we go through the proper tracks to identify the property owner and give them their options as far as cleaning up. And as far as me personally getting involved with that part of the code, I have not yet.
Like I said, I just thought, and I was like, oh, I didn't know this was in our code.
But they have in the past.
And I'm gonna get to read the code and find out what's in there. So I think all my questions, the curfew stuff you had, and I appreciate that you added if there were school functions or things that they weren't gonna be in trouble if they were out, because around here, our kids sometimes get home late or early in the morning and we wouldn't want them to get punished, so.
I know, well, again, it's been a few years back, but a lady, I think her kids were out and she knew it and she was okay with it, but they got pulled over and harassed, but wanted, and she, for that, which I found a little odd, especially where they had permission. I think it was past 11 o'clock or something like that, which are curfew on weeknights or something. I can't remember how it worked.
Was yours the code? Anyway, if you're homeschooled, you had a different rule than another. Maybe that wasn't.
I looked it up, but it's obviously weird, yeah.
I just have one more, quick one on this, on junk motor vehicles. Your current code says the chief of police has authority to just dispose of vehicles that are valued less than $75. And that he doesn't have to send it out to public sale if it's less than $75. I mean, maybe.
Those like trikes or.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, aim was
Now I got to the price.
it costs you more to value a $75.
Then the,
It's,
what's the recommended?
we just wondered if you wanted to go 500 to 1,000, and just let police, chief of police to, this is not gonna sell, just getting rid of it, or, sorry, just tell you where it's really.
Is that junk vehicle?
I would say 500. I wouldn't go up to 1,000.
Okay.
So are we talking like vehicles just sitting in driveways that are just
Or
garbage?
no, on the streets.
On the street.
On your street.
Wow.
So we just move it to whatever number you feel like, but we thought $75 was.
I'd say 500.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay.
If car prices keep going up, that 500 isn't gonna be.
We'll be back.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, I'm just wondering if is there a way to make it so it's not like we have to revisit this every 3 years, 2 years, 5 years, depending upon inflation next month, wait for the inflation.
What if we split the difference and did 750?
Or we could put it in resolution maybe somehow.
You could do it in could we do it in the fee schedule resolution? Probably not.
Do you have any idea what other cities, or do they usually just set
It was between 500.
Okay.
There's no consistent thing. We could say 750 and make it look like
You wouldn't want to do a fee schedule resolution, but if you wanted to monitor it, I don't know that it's worth the trouble, but you could do it in a separate resolution and have it work the same way. I think that it works better to just say an amount, and then if the time comes that you want to adjust it, to do it here, rather than in the resolution. I think it complicates it.
Yeah. Truly, we should be going through our codes more often than we are anyway, and we wouldn't be spending 2 years going through our codes.
Does chief have a recommendation on the amount?
Shying away from it altogether. I need to read this, I guess.
That was my question. How often do you do this?
I think 637 is a good number.
We've never used this far, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nor do I think I would consider it, however,
What's that?
there may be an exception, probably.
I would keep it, but with.
Well, that's why I was like, $1,000. That's what I was gonna say. My kids' cars, that's what we look for. Yeah. $1,000 vehicles. They can go trash and.
Yeah, I just keep it with.
How much can you still make money on it, chief?
What Mr. Bake was asking me, I was appalled. But
I'll tell you what, Mr. Bake, he'll solve the problem. He comes here with a different car every day. Just tell him to-
I think just.
What do you think, Josh?
I think this can be dangerous because you have fundamental value for a car and the price is going to vary greatly. You take an older car that was Councilman Baird's great grandfather's and you tell them it's worth $300 and we're going to dispose of it. Yet it might be his project car they saving to redo with his child where
So
this could be.
let's see.
So ask him to move it off the street. We're just talking about cars that are on the street, right?
Right.
And I
And
think
that's what I was going to say.
It's key, but this is actually taking it from that.
Take it from the cell.
So,
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying is there's gotta be a mechanism. I like what Audrey said, and that is, there's gotta be something, you give them what? How many chances to get it off the street? They can have it in their yard all day long, who cares? They can't be on the street.
Is there a way we could impound it if they don't remove it? This
It's
doesn't
already
get bigger.
72-hour thing, right?
Wait a minute.
So we do have code that also states it can't be in their yard unregistered or
Can you go up?
title vehicle.
If it's outside of a fence, right? If it's behind a fence, it can.
Yeah. They define.
Can you go up a little higher? I want to see where the location is. Okay, go down just a little bit. It was right there. Okay, go, nope, it is a little bit higher, isn't it? So it's just talking about a nuisance. It's not talking about on city property or on the street. It could be in somebody's yard, and that's where we've got to be very careful.
There is a process. That's why this one, when by the time you get to the city selling off the car, it's 0.9, step number 9.
Yeah.
So it's not every day you're just whisking stuff out of these garages, but still, $75 is hard.
I have a hard time unless there's HOAs or something like that in city limits. I don't know.
All right, well, I'll tell you what.
That all together.
Yeah, let me take, instead of changing the dollar right now, why don't we'll go research what other towns do, if they even do this.
Yeah, I agree that's.
Uh-huh.
I mean, in some neighborhoods, that'd be an eyesore, and I can see you would want it to become a collection site of those kinds of things.
They said they just put junk cars in their lawn.
If we take it out altogether, it leaves the door open to become a junkyard.
That's what I'm saying, so we gotta be very careful when we do that. I honestly say we go to the planning and zoning commission on this one to get their input on it before we make any final decisions. There you go. Yeah, bring it up and see what their suggestion would be. They're gonna be objective on that.
Okay, great. Last title, it's title 5, it's your business licenses. A lot of this, I think I can take care of, your email, but basically there's a theme in this title, the way you've got it written, and that it's the city treasurer or designee is kind of the business license guru. And so all things go in and out of city. Just wondering if that's the way you still want it.
That's how it's been done. Right?
What, is that normal?
Yeah, yeah.
Ones that are taking money for it, and so they issue the license.
Okay.
But there should be some regulation in there that our building official signs off on.
And planning zone.
And planning zoning.
And we do have that now, just as common procedure. I don't know if it's defined very well in our code though. It probably needs to be cleaned up.
Basically, what I've seen to qualify for a business license is we also have the chief of police.
Yeah.
Well, the chief of police could.
Multifunctional.
Yeah, but the fire chief, go and look at it, make sure that it.
We do require a fire inspection on all business licenses, so we
Okay.
do that for our building.
Perfect. I just want to, yeah.
Okay, you also have an interesting mechanism that says if somebody's application is denied, they can get. What's the one?
Not to a degree, because we still have the paperwork to process. What do you think, Grant?
I would think no. I think that one.
Usually Taylor doesn't take payment until, he can issue the license anyway. He doesn't want to take payment when he still has to process paperwork.
And so they pay when they pick up the business license?
Unless they send a check in.
That's still a question of, we've still employed several people to go and, inspect and everything else, and that's time wasted on our end.
But what you're saying is in our policy, it says we refund. Yeah, I agree. I don't think we should do that because we do have some
So
costs.
if we kind of lean that way too, we'll pull out our edits on it. We added language as if you did want to keep doing that.
I do have one question on, so we have the chief and the building and others, sign off on the license. This question is more for Grant. Is there a metric that they follow, or can they just based on how they feel or what they think?
They're looking for specific things.
Okay, so there's an actual checklist that they're, okay. That's good, and that doesn't need, that's not in our code, but that's something internally that we come up with, or how does that work?
So how we do that is basically it's planning and zoning first in order if it's a land use that's approved by that zone. And then the building department signs off on that as well, just the construction if it's suitable for that, and the fire inspection comes through that process as well. And we do have a checklist that
Okay.
it's our office.
But if we were to deny and not give them their money back, there could be some potential like frustrations if they didn't feel like, if they felt like they met all the requirements. But there is definitely a set of requirements that has to be met for it, and it's well known pretty much.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. The only reason they'd be denied is if, once they were told the discrepancies, they didn't
Make the
remedy those.
changes. Okay.
So for example, in our districts, if they want to do a business that selling clothes, for example, or something like that, it's not a suitable license for that zone because there'll be traffic, there'll be parking issues. So we screen that before it goes to Taylor for the licensing.
But I still think they should pay their fee up front. And then it's up to them to.
I feel like it's similar to like additional use.
That's basically the process. We do the screening on the application. If it looks like it's suitable for that criteria in the zoning, then we go ahead and go through the process.
Yeah, okay. The reason I brought it up is because I know like with land use, we have, if it meets the requirements of the zoning, we cannot deny use.
And it works the same.
Okay, okay. Okay. Cool.
If you're worried about like covering our costs, but maybe not wanting the whole amount, we could change things probably in the fee schedule to have like an application fee that's non-refundable and then the license fee that's not charged unless they qualify.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah, I do too.
Just because then the amount for the paperwork is taken care of. And if it goes through, then they pay the remainder, something like that. Application fee and then the actual business license. Because the business license, what? $150. So maybe you charge 50 up front and then the other 100 upon completion.
One note on that, we do not charge home occupation business license for our business.
I don't know, are we allowed to by state code?
No, in our state ordinance, it says that we do not charge for home occupation. That may be something that we want to look at.
When you say, is it allowed?
I
Is that what you're saying?
remember the state regulated that, and we weren't allowed to charge a
That's
business
a-
licensing fee for home
What we
occupation.
thought too.
Okay, should
You
be-
still license, but you don't.
I don't think we can't charge.
Charge for it.
Yeah. And that's our fee schedule, that's, we don't charge those.
Great. On contractors, this is 528.5. It's kind of a unique way of doing it. With contractors, you have to have a individual license for each job. And our team's question is this working? Do you get pushback on this? Keep doing that?
I wonder if they did that because there was a lot of contractors coming out from the city.
Oh, yeah.
10, 15 years ago to do a lot of work out here, and they were maybe trying to inhibit that a little bit or be able to send them back where they came from and let our local guys do work.
Okay.
I don't know, that's just a wonder, I don't know if anyone here would know, but I think we should do it the way that it's done everywhere else.
Yeah.
Which would be probably just, if they've got a municipal license in the state of Utah, they can do business anywhere in the state. Isn't that the way it is in most places?
And that's on the issue, of course, but yeah. Okay. I'm not taking notes.
No, I think it should just be that if they live or they have their business within our city, that they should have a business license within our city. But businesses from Vernal who came and did work here wouldn't need one within our city to like build a house here.
I think that may also be addressed in state code similarly to home occupation, where I don't know that we are allowed to require license for like our itinerant or travel.
with the contractor, they're licensed through Donald, which is a state license.
Yeah.
Generally where they're domiciled at is where their license will be.
Okay, yeah, exactly. So I think this is not necessary. Do you think it's necessary, Grant?
No, in fact, I need to look it up, but I kind of think that this contradicts.
Yeah.
Yeah, we thought it was kind of weird. It was unique, creative. That's nice. It was creative.
Yeah, I'll hold my tongue. Cause I think I know where that came from.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's not, well, it's, red lines, you guys aren't actually approving it. Some questions on how you handle pawn shops and such. It's 5.4.7. Currently, it says, paperwork has to go to the police chief at the beginning of the week. And we're just wondering, is that working? Do you want to keep doing that?
Are you getting paperwork every week?
So we have a state database that we access for that. It's all computerized now.
And every police chief can look at it, right? So if somebody steals something in the city,
All the officers and detectives have access to it.
okay, great.
And the pawn shops are required to put everything on it, certain
Yep,
items.
state laws, they have to put, and then it also details where if we put a hold on it, what we have to do and what we have to do.
Cool.
Okay, well, that made that one easy. 5.4.40, starting to scroll back. You have a rule here that says, city has to post, post the ordinance in the place of business, but now that you've got everything online, I'm wondering if you're okay just keeping it online.
I would say, yeah, wouldn't you? Do we need to post it?
And I guess secondary, is anybody even enforcing it if a piece of paper doesn't get posted?
This is the license for the pawn shops?
I think so.
Or is this just a business license in general? Because.
This is pawn.
I thought it was pawn.
I think they can just post it on their wall, right?
Well, we didn't know if you were gonna strongly enforce it if it wasn't your code.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that as far as a business license, I mean, you have a paper copy of the business license and you show up. I'm sure this is a separate license that they have to have. I think it's a big deal to have them pin it next to the business license. Is it something that they have to renew? Or is it something that once they qualify and receive a license, it's an indefinite amount of time?
This is for pawn shops specifically.
Yeah.
It doesn't work on this last year.
Chapter 5.4 is pawn brokers.
That's what I mean. Is this something though, that the license for a pawnbroker, is this something that needs to be renewed yearly, or is this something they get once and it's done?
Isn't that regulated by the state anyway? So, yeah,
Well,
so they can come in, I mean, I'm sure they have people out in this, that do the enforcement there for pawn shops from the state level. Maybe the employer help from time to time.
All right, good.
I'd just say as far as pawn shops go, if there's any state code.
Yeah.
Yeah, or just refer to it here, not even put it in ours, just refer.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree.
Okay.
I believe it is in the state.
5.44.20 is requirements for business license as far as temporary businesses. Oh, yes. And yeah, that's just the question on A, the applicant must reside in the city, considered a resident. So we wondered, how does that work if you have a stand or a Halloween?
Or a food truck.
Or a food truck.
Well, I mean, like if Walmart moved to town, would the owner of Walmart have to live in Roosevelt?
Absolutely, in Roosevelt.
Well, this is only for temporary.
Oh, this is temporary.
Temporary, yeah.
Got way out of hand there, sorry.
Well, but
I agree, that's what's confusing to me half the time is I don't know which it's talking about.
Yeah.
I would say that's probably not needed there. I don't know.
Do we issue temporary, like for the fireworks stands? How do we do that? So they come in and get a temporary business license?
I don't think they need to be a permanent
How do you
resident.
No, I would say no.
Yeah, qualified then as a permanent.
They want to bring a service to our town that we don't already have.
It's temporary. That's the other thing.
Well, that's why they're floating through, is they're not from here, they're just.
They're taking a risk by coming here, so.
Yeah, agree. They want to get a.
Yeah.
Food guys, yeah, in the food section of it, they're supposed to be vetted by the police department as far as background check and everything else. Fireworks stands where they're not giving food out.
Yeah, what about the farmer's market?
They don't have any sort of business.
Well, that's what I mean, that's food. Yeah. I just think that it's different. That there's a difference or a separation. It should not be one and the same. In mind, there should be a distinction.
Okay. Let me bounce you to 5.5.130 section for grown-ups. It's just got a question. It says the business license official is described. Yeah, it just says a business license official, and we thought, is this the city treasurer? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay, well, it doesn't take us long to make these edits. We really appreciate getting the input. If there's anything else.
In your comments page, I didn't print all 80 pages or whatever. But you asked about the background check for the alcohol and beverages, 5.08. I don't know what section, I apologize, I just printed. Yeah, 5.08 on
yes,
alcoholic beverages. And yeah, it's before that, I would assume.
I don't have the reference in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, are you talking about the background check?
Yeah, and I just wonder what your thoughts, is this common practice for them to do a background check?
We have seen it in other city codes, but most city codes are garbage, or sorry, neat. So we didn't know.
And it wasn't in our code before.
So what was the,
get that question.
what was the concern, Don?
Oh, it's
As
just,
far as,
they brought it up in their notes. It says that the city requiring a background check for applicants to get a alcohol and beverage license is what I'm assuming.
so what are we looking for as far as a background check on something like that?
So if I understand that right, they have to be licensed through the state, and the state would do all that. In order to, they like somebody that gives, anyway.
This brings up a question that I have though, and we've done it a couple of times, and that is when we have API or other events, they need a temporary alcohol license or permission or whatever it may be, but we've never even considered doing a background check. Would we treat that the same? Do we treat,
Do mobile?
and that's something we issue as a city.
So we have the issue that, well, do we have to work through the state? Because I don't know. You know, right? So even with the temporary one? And so if, and I would suspect my next statement would be, then they would be doing the vetting too.
So you're not doing the background check on any of them, so.
Yeah, and I brought it up because it's just in their notes. I'm not saying we need to do it or not. I'm just asking.
We've seen it in other code. We don't understand it either because we think it's a state level thing. Same with food trucks, they're just prescribing everything. So anyway, it doesn't sound like you want it. So.
Yeah.
All right.
And you also had on, sorry, it's way down, but the food truck you just mentioned. Do cities regulate food trucks, and how do they
try to? And the state is telling you can't do much.
So and we don't have code, so we don't need to look at it.
Yeah, we're kind of in line with what the state.
Yeah, and that's what I said. It's on your notes. I was just asking
So-
What's the preference state code?
Perfect. In here too, and this brings up one other question that I had. So the city treasurer or designee may issue, suspend, or revoke a temporary permit to sell, offer for sale, or furnish beer for on-premise consumption for an event or any violation of this chapter. So that's something that our city treasurer in our own code can approve, right? Because we've had that question too. I've had people bring those to me, wondering if they can get the approval. And we would thought, is this have to be council, is this something that you just do and administer? And it looks like something that can be done on a temporary basis. So that makes me feel better in the way we handled it. Because it has just been basically reviewed and approved, but it hasn't been gone full council.
Rhonda looks like she hasn't thought about it.
I know that one of the local stores wanted to get their business license so they could start selling alcohol. I was just trying to think what Taylor had to do with that. I know he was requiring that they approve a liquor license. And I think that was all that, like, that was our criteria, was that you had to like have all of these things and then we can issue a business license where you were authorized to do that. It's one of the local dollar stores or something that wanted to sell beer, I think.
Serious?
It was a dollar store. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. And I don't know what happened.
I wonder if there's a difference on how the temporary licenses are treated, because I don't know that you have all of that.
I don't know if we've ever got anyone asking for temporary.
I've only dealt with it 3 times. Well, yeah. I should say more than that. Once or twice a year, we get an applicant, but they bring the form, so they must print it off the state website. And then all they need is a signature from an authorized person of the city to proceed.
It sounds like is the city treasurer based on our code, right?
So he can technically.
Or a
I
designee.
really need Taylor's input on this.
Yeah. Well, it could be city treasurer designee, right? So he could be a designee, the city treasurer to prove that. Oh.
Well, I know for our last board party, we tried to get a temporary alcohol.
I didn't have any trouble last time I did. I'm shocked.
No.
We just didn't ask.
Oh, maybe that's what it was.
All right. Yeah.
You're actually exempt.
Yeah.
With religious functions. I didn't know you knew that. And that's a true statement.
Well, just to remind everybody, these codes are online. You can find them on the city website, and you can go and make your edits yourself. I was impressed. We had some folks in the public that actually popped in. Not very many, but some is a lot when you're talking about codes. So
Yeah.
thanks for your good work, and we'll be back when we want to talk about the really fun ones as well.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good times.
Thanks much. Kevin, can you
Just real quick, your next city council meeting, for state requirements, we'll be bringing the subdivision ordinance, Title 17, for review. We do need to have that adopted in February, correct?
Yes.
So we will.
We need a motion for public hearing, do we not? Or do we?
We'll post that.
Yeah, we don't necessarily need a motion for that. Okay.
Thank you.
Good, because it's not on our thing. Let's move on to the next item.
Finally.
The rear view of Jane K. request to increase residential traffic collection.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, our friends from K&K for sticking around for this. We threw up some numbers here just for council consideration. So in our contract with K&K, it does allow them to come and request a change for the tippage fee to be added to the fee schedule if the fee rate changes at the landfill. So what they have here, we just have some very basic numbers, and I'll introduce the numbers and then turn the time over for any questions to our friends here. Currently, they're doing between 470 to 490 tons each month. So I took the 480 average. Currently, it's $25 a ton at the landfill, approximately $12,000 a month, not a year, that's a typo. So it is going up $5 to 30. So it'll be 14,400 per month, a difference of $2,400. We have 1,824 accounts within the city. So currently that's $6.57 per account. With the additional charge that the landfill is charging, that goes up to $7.89 per account, a difference of $1.32. What K&K is requesting is that we amend the fee schedule to include that $1.32 onto each account. Again, this is just passing the additional expense from the landfill onto the customers. This is nothing additional going to K&K. And again, this is included in our agreement with them. Staff reviewing this, we do support this. There are some Google data down below that basically just shows that we do get rid of our garbage on average with the average American. So again, this is recommended by staff, but we do have representatives from K&K here should council have any questions.
One thing I just want to add real quick. So I did the math on this. You said it's going up $5 a ton. And so if you do the math on that, $5 a ton, and you break it down, really if you base what they're suggesting is 125 pounds a week is what they're picking up with each resident. And you break that down and it does work out to $1.32. I ran the math on each individual can and everything else pretty quickly, and it was spot on. So
I would say I appreciate the math. They did have just a couple of questions. So $1.32 per account, is that per can or per home? Because if someone has 2 cans versus 3.
So that is per account.
Okay.
So if an account has more than 1 can, then it needs to be added to the second can as well.
So the $1.32 is would be per can then? Okay. And what about dumpsters? Are they also added? Are we gonna have to adjust?
We've been collecting data on that, and we didn't have it collected at the time that we met with Josh. And that one's such a hard one because there's some dumpsters that you pull into that you can tell they're just as light as can be. And then the next one you pull into and the front of the truck sags down and you know that you have, and so it's on the commercial side of things, it's very, very difficult in our opinion because honestly speaking, the one that has the heavy dumpster is getting off scot-free, but the one that has the light dumpster is paying for it.
Right.
So one of the things that I did, and I'm not saying it's right, but just ran a guesstimate of, okay, this volume can handle this many pounds of refuse, right? Garbage. Couldn't you do the same thing with volume, like a 3 yard? Say, okay, 3 yards should, on average, you could dispose of maybe a ton or 1,500 pounds worth of waste or 1,000 pounds or whatever it may be, if it's full. Because really, I think what the customer is paying for is potential, not necessarily whether they fill it to the top every time.
It is potential without question.
But the potential to get rid of that volume of waste and or weight of waste each time. So my only suggestion is if we're looking at changing the commercial rates, I would like to see it done. When does the tippage fee take effect?
It's already happened.
It already did, okay.
And one thing, Mayor, for council's clarification here, is you see we do not have a public hearing to amend the fee schedule tonight. What we want to do tonight is get those exact numbers. So we didn't run into a problem where we draft up the change and then have to modify it again. So we want to get all the final numbers. So if you have those numbers perfect, we still will have those on the same council meeting or next council meeting this month. So they will take effect because the tippage fee has already changed for K&K. So that way we can make sure that we're getting them whole, but also getting those exact numbers. That's why tonight you don't see a public hearing for this, so we can get Sunshine the exact verbiage. The next meeting, there's no miscommunication.
What's the volume of the regular can? Do you know?
They're considered 100 gallons.
100 gallons?
Depending on which company you buy them from. But you're talking the residential cans?
Yeah, and I'm trying to think.
I think that back in the days of the 350, weren't they 3/4 of a yard?
Yes. No, a yard and 3/4.
Were they a yard and 3/4?
Yes.
So typical Mr. Roosevelt can do the math better than what
I don't know. Depends on the day.
So you're saying the 350 is your can size, Reggie? No?
No, we had, for a while, we offered a bigger plastic
Right.
receptacle. It was basically 3.5 times of a regular
Oh,
automated
okay.
can. We've done away with those. They're
Just a nuisance.
they're an absolute.
Nice.
You could put that in your codes if you want, no 350 gallon can.
My suggestion would be to look at a rate and how that brought, I think,
We're proposing $5 for a 3-yard dumpster.
And that comes off of you're anywhere from the data we've collected the past month or so, it's anywhere from like 350 pounds to, I mean, the struggle that I had, David and I were texting back and forth, if I tell you $5, that means that I'm telling you I'm picking up a ton of trash from J.R. Bird's house every month.
that may be,
Whether that's true or not, I personally I would be skeptical of that at your residential house. At a commercial business, however, very possible.
but if you think about it, if you pick my trash can up 4 times a month, at least, that's 500 pounds.
It's 500 pounds.
Yeah.
And like I said, David and I both feel that we're justified in proposing a $5 figure on a 3-yard dumpster, which means a 6-yard dumpster would be $10, and an 8-yard would probably be 12, 13, whatever it is. Okay.
The only reason I brought dumpster up, I just want to make, because it wasn't on there, and we have to have a public hearing, so we want all the numbers so we can then approve it all as once, as opposed to, we're gonna approve this, and then you gotta come back. Does that make sense? And I don't have heartburn over the $1.32. I appreciate the diligence you did in the numbers, and that feels to me like it was fair, and that you did what you could there. And I just would ask that you get the dumpster fee included, and then we can just approve it all at the next public hearing. At least that's my thought.
So that ultimately, the $5 would be our proposal, and like I say, it would just govern from there.
Okay.
If y'all deem that it's $4, I mean, I guess that's what you deem it is, you know,
It's really difficult right now because the information we've been collecting, you know, in the summertime, we get grass, we get all of these things that weigh up more.
Mm-hmm.
And so the information we've been collecting right now doesn't constitute any of that. And so that's kind of where we're at when we come up with the $5 number.
Yeah. Well, going back to the residential can, 125 pounds a pickup is what you've based your numbers on.
and multiple occasions here lately, we have some trucks that we bought out of the city of Denver several years ago. And we've had multiple occasions here lately where those trucks, we have 4 of them, are simply not able to lift a can.
Wow.
Because it's that heavy?
Yeah.
We have to send another truck to get it.
That sounds good. To me, I think it sounds fair. I would think, if we could just straighten out, I know, Rhonda, that was something that you brought up too, was on the commercial cans. If we could just, maybe if you could work with Rhonda in between now and the next meeting and try to dial in where you'll be at, make sure that we have those numbers by the next meeting. I think we can get something.
Yeah.
Sure. Like I said, I didn't see anything in this when
Mayor, if I can just so we have some numbers to start with, Sunshine, just to make sure we're on the same page, so we're proposing $1.32 per residential can, and then the $5 for the 3-yard dumpster, and then the other one's adjusted accordingly. And that's where you want us to start with, but again, I agree with Mayor, we'll make sure we get those numbers, just so in Sunshine, the resolution, we've got it down.
We're up $1.32 on both the first and the second.
Yes.
One thing that this is how I would look at it, is whatever the percentage increase on the can is. Obviously, the commercial can is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be a little less expensive, my guess is just because it's more volume and things like that, one stop, more times, whatever. But there's also a number that we can put to that, an equation we can put to that, so that the residential cans going up this much, the commercial cans going up, and each can getting bigger goes up, proportionately to that, maybe less, but proportionally to that, so that it makes sense. There's rhyme and reason to what we're doing there.
Like I say, we've run numbers and run numbers and run numbers, so it's like looking at numbers and $5 is where we came to that we felt like we need to be.
What is the current overall 3-yard dumpster price? So I can get
It depends on how many times it's dumped per week.
Yeah, because
There's 6 different prices.
Once a week base price looks like $7,610.
So we would have to break that down then to the trash can once a week price. I mean, just to try to compare apples to apples, but I mean, if you're looking at it, it'd be about 4 times, $221.90.
well, but you're still going to the dump whether once a week, twice a week, 3 times, whatever, the more they go, there's still volume there, right? So what you're saying is $5.
Okay, so it's just the 76.10
Is it the dump?
per month, if it's only dumped once a week that month.
If they get an extra call, then that would be more volume, which would then be another $5 for the.
Twice a week is $124, 3 times a week.
Right, exactly. So, but you're just
We
saying,
can get with Rhonda and get their schedule.
that's all I would say, is
Get with us.
yeah. I like I said, I appreciate the numbers that you gave us and that you're fair, and I'm very comfortable with what you have there. We just, because it's public, we have to have a public hearing on it to approve it, so it won't be till next meeting, but we should be able to get that done, I think.
This isn't necessarily justified, what I'm gonna say isn't justified, but figuratively speaking from the council's perspective. $1.32 in my mind is kind of a goofy number to get a bill from Roosevelt City for $92.48. It is, but it isn't, okay? So if you felt that a round number is better, I think a round number is better myself, meaning, does that make sense?
$1.30?
You agree, but we have odd numbers now.
But I'm not as concerned as I was
We have the
before.
numbers.
We have 58% and
Yeah,
So I did the math really quickly. The residential can price is going up right at 7%. If we do the $5 on the 6-yard can, it's 6.5%.
so you're
So
close.
I mean, it's right in there.
Yeah,
So the numbers that we see on there talked about accounts, and I know there's more cans than accounts. I'm just hoping that we can keep this lower than higher if possible, just because there's quite a few people in Roosevelt that are struggling right now. So, and I get that that your prices are going up and we got to
This
pay.
isn't anything that's in our control. It's
Right,
completely.
Yeah, that's how I understand it as well. So, but if we can, base it by can instead of by account, like, because $1.32 is per account. And there was 1,800 and something. Was that per can?
It's per can.
So there's only 1,800 cans, because according to the math on the previous page there, we divided up the total.
1824
You have a
That's what we're billing is 1,824 accounts.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's how many cans?
So I'm gonna pay twice as much as people with
we
one
want to look
can.
at how many cans we have.
And I'll have to get with Cindy on that.
okay.
Because I get what Dave's saying, because if we have 1,824 accounts, but there's 2,300 cans out there, that would reduce the overall.
That's what I was asking before. If they had 2 cans, it's $1.32 per can, but if it's an account, that's.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Can you get us
as
how
long as
many
that's.
cans you have?
yeah, if it's per count, then we need to know, like, how do we weigh that?
Right.
Because
It's gotta be per can.
yeah.
Yeah, it'd be easier for us and you
It's
guys
gotta be
probably per can, yes.
Because you're charged per can.
Right.
And I'm totally fine with it. I understand that it has to happen and, go through the public hearing. I'm happy with however it turns out, honestly. So,
Yeah.
Does it have to go to the hearing? Where it's in the contract that can be just done?
Anytime we change a fee for, it's a tax or it's a fee that we charge our residents. And then anytime we do that legally, we have to.
If it was your
It's gotta
fee,
be a
it'd be
public
different,
hearing.
but since we're charging it, we have to do public.
Doesn't mean that we can't, I mean, even if the public came in and said, no, we're not going to do that, we can still do it. It's just that by law, transparency laws, we have to make sure that it's advertised.
Makes sense.
And Mayor, if I may, one other question we had, there was discussion earlier about an extra dump fee for the commercial cans. If somebody called in and said, hey, I need an extra dump, we don't have that on the fee schedule, this would be a great time to add that. I know it's been discussed. Can you give us numbers for that?
Yep.
And that way, because since we're gonna amend the fee schedule, perfect time, let's add that in so you guys can charge.
A lot.
That one's a really hard one because from the week to week, we talked about this with the mayor one time, just as a council. Let's say that fee is $20. Well, if JR, for example, wanted an extra dump at his house, and it was at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the trucks were in. Time I go start a truck, let it warm up, drive to JR's house, dump his dumpster, get back.
I've never done this, by the way.
Potentially, I could be into it an hour.
So here's what I would do, because I'm looking at your fee schedule now, for one dump, a week, and then you jump to 2, it's actually cheaper,
It is, sure.
but it's costing you more money. Because you're having to reroute, is that, because you're talking about having to stop everything you're doing and.
If it's on a schedule and they have it part of their route, it's not as big of a deal. It's when it's that extra dump that it's more
Well, and
money.
that's what I mean. So if you're.
So if it's not a scheduled dump, then it should have a bigger
Right.
price tag.
That's
Yeah. But I agree with, Mr. Bake, we ought to include that then in your plan for the public hearing. That way you're covered, you can get it done and,
Like I say, it's $20, but then if I were to charge JR $125 an hour truck fee, he's gonna throw stones at me.
that's okay.
Or GH.
Have something that, like, if they want to dump that day, they have to call by a certain time, or it's on the next day, or.
It is very, very difficult to tell someone over the phone that you're not gonna come until the next day. Because usually when they call, they want it right now, and how come you're not here already?
Maybe there's a day of charge and the next day charge.
Yeah.
Those are things that
This is
are
the charge we charge if
definitely,
you call the day of, and if we could come the next day, then it's.
We'll give you a discount on,
yeah, for
I
sure.
would not,
Thank you for your input.
I'm not disagreeing, but I would make it as simple as possible, like Chief said, so I would weigh that in and I just charge. It's an inconvenience fee is what it is, really.
Right.
I mean, because you're going out of your normal route and routine to pick up a trash can. And so I would just give an average of what that would be, whether it's same day, next day, and honestly, we don't have anywhere that says, hey, if you call, it's gonna be within 24 hours. It's just, we'll get there when we can get there. But I wouldn't make it too convoluted.
Mayor, if I may, one thing you guys can do, this is an extra service, it's not required. You can charge a premium there. Then if JR really wants to dump, he has to determine, is it worth it or is he gonna wait? Ultimately, you guys are the ones setting the fee here on something special. You're giving somebody a special service. You determine what the value is, and then the customer can decide if they want that service or not.
I definitely don't think you should be discounting it.
No.
No, the discount comes in on
If it's a
the,
regular lease.
yes.
And that makes sense to me.
okay, I think you got direction then, and
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Expenditure approval, we sent that down. Are there any questions?
just how much Aaron's gonna have in the golf house to, get us all set up?
A good start.
Money.
I didn't see anything that was a problem, so I would move we approve.
Okay, we have a motion.
I'll second.
Second by Councilman Allen. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Capital projects updates. Ryan must have, did we get called out?
Yes, Ryan got called out on the fire. One thing, just so council's aware, we're gonna do the capital project updates just once a month, do council meetings. So this is actually planned to be, this is actually planned to be tabled anyway till the next one. So if you're okay, I'll jump into city manager.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, all right, thank you, Mayor.
Just anything else we can do to take up a little more time? I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's got the bed on 8 o'clock.
It's past my bedtime.
Well, as we are discussing, I just wanted to, this wasn't part of recognitions, but I did want to thank a lot of the staff departments. If you participated in the Santa Parade, I know that Councilman Baird, his family was out there. It was a wonderful turnout, a great thing for our community to see so many people, and fire, PD, the recreation staff, our planning and zoning was out there. We had so many different departments that helped for this wonderful event to just bring a little cheer to the community. So I wanted to thank all of them publicly for everything that they did for that. Other than that, one thing I did want to put on council's radar is as we go forward, and we have planned to have 2 council meetings a month, a work session and a regular session. I'd like to make the recommendation, and this does not need to be decided right now, that we do have a work session, a true work session once a month. And this was a great example tonight where we're discussing the code and diving into things where we can have more of a discussion. I know there's a lot of opinions and want to have that communication with council. So whatever format council would like us to do, we're open to doing that, but we do have it planned for twice a month. Other than that, we just want to welcome our new councilman up here, and we're so grateful to kick off this new year and keep things going because we're going in a great direction. And as far as everything we're doing at the city, it's amazing what we have going on. Are there any questions for me?
Thanks for all you do.
No, thank you. Thank the staff. Especially Kirby's doing a great job keeping the snow off the roads. Yeah, I know. That's what he said. Great
You
job.
know what? It's not piling up on the sidewalk.
Yeah. You don't have any complaints over it?
So, do we have any committee reports, updates from the council members?
No.
Oh, you know what? But we can, yeah, committee assignments. Let's put it on for next one. And will you send out all the council members a copy of what the current ones are so that they can see where?
All of the rosters for the committees or just a list of the open positions or both?
No, this is just the council appointments.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so what council member?
I gotcha.
What council member is assigned to what committees and areas of the city. That way, in between now and the next meeting, if you have any strong, desires, wishes being changed, or, you want to serve in a certain position, let me know in between now and the next meeting. Ultimately, that is one other, besides actually, what was it that I got to approve tonight? Can't remember what it was. That's one other thing, function of the mayor, is the mayor gets to decide ultimately
You
whether.
have to approve whether you were gonna eliminate the garbage, but you don't.
Oh, yeah. Service are garbage, right? Thank you. But anyway, so ultimately, we'll have to make, I'll end up finalizing those, but if you have any strong things one way or the other, I'd like to know that before, or interests, I'd like to know that before make those final appointments. Okay. Awesome. Well, we'll try not to juggle it up, mess it, shuffle it up too much, but anyway, that's all I have. Any others? Okay, seeing none. And items for future discussion, I'm guessing, was the work meeting issue. Okay.
You gonna beat me, Dave? Sure, I'll let you.
This is the
I motion that we adjourn.
I'll second.
A motion and a second.
I just like.
All in favor?
You guys just sit there and wait. Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
I need yours.
Sorry.